You know, social media is redefining the platform. Our communications, our whole business model is being rethought because of that incredible conversation. Some of us are in the middle of it, some of us haven't jumped in yet, and many of us who are involved in social media are a little discouraged and a little unsure about whether we're really making a difference. Thus, a new industry has evolved. A lot of it is coming out of India, interestingly. And today I'm going to introduce you to the CEO and president of a social media organization called Blue Ocean. Now, Prashant Parita is a very interesting guy. He has a whole team of people in India that are working algorithms. They can work with a tiny corporation or a massive company, as they tend to do, and help them become more competitive and engaging inside the flow of the world of social media analytics. So please welcome a very interesting man. His family's from India, his company's from Seattle. He's here in Omaha, Creighton University today. Please welcome my friend Prashant Parita from Blue Ocean, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Outstanding. Thanks for coming this long way.
Yeah, but I love the weather here.
Yeah? The single coldest day of the year, right? Here in Omaha, Nebraska, right? Yeah. How do you like this facility? Nice, huh?
Amazing. When you told me it was great, I think it is really great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, there's so much that we want to talk about with you. This is a very interesting, explosive industry. Before we do that, why don't you explain to everybody what is Blue Ocean and the general feel of social media analytics? Many of us don't even know what we're talking about there.
Sure. Let me first correct you. We've been a company for about last 2 years or so.
Okay, all right.
And I'm not the CEO. I lead one of the lines of business there.
Thank
which
you.
is around
I stand
social
corrected.
media.
You look like the CEO, by the way. I could have given you that credit.
Thank you. I think, like you said, it's very interesting, to get lost in social media because there's a lot happening. I think a lot of students here will recognize that.
Yes.
There's a lot happening in social media, but how do you really make sense of the social media for business is very key.
Yeah, it's like a tsunami if you've ever stood on the edge of it and a huge wave coming at you. You don't really know what's going to happen next or where everything's going to be.
Yeah.
So this world of social media analytics, where did the industry come from? Did it come out of India or who came up with the notion of let's analyze these millions of conversations and look for patterns and then figure out a way to create value within that Who came up with that? Do you know?
I'm not sure if some one person came up with that, but I guess what was happening is a lot of brands are now trying to engage with consumers on social channels. Now, let's say if you look at Coca-Cola or Pepsi or any of these big brands. Microsoft, for example. Now, how do you really connect with millions of customers unless you know what is very important to them?
Right.
So if you know what is important to them, what concerns them, what is useful to them, that's where you begin. And because there is so much data, it makes sense to really go deeper and figure out what makes sense. I think that's where the whole idea of analytics came into play. Yeah, okay. And that's where we came into being.
And Blue Ocean has been around technically how long?
About 13 years now.
Really? Yeah. Okay. All right. Now tell us. Let's dive into it. What is it's such a rapidly evolving industry. What's the leading edge right now in social media analytics? I mean, we've heard about listening. There are many large companies that hire social media analytics firms, either in customer service or marketing, to listen. They're monitoring, trying to find out what people are saying about their brands. Is that true?
Right.
Right. But now there's a new generation of companies, and you're included in this wave, as I understand, who can be proactive and actually get in there and influence, in behalf of the company, influence the flow of dialogue.
Right.
So what's this all about? I hear there's like 4 or 5 dimensions. Is that right?
Sure. See, what is very interesting about social media is two-way channel. So traditional media has been more like one way. If you have to put an ad, you put it on TV, and then you expect people to react to that.
True.
But social media is two-way. If you go on Facebook, you can actually talk to people, and people can talk back to you.
Yes.
I think that's a big difference.
Paradigm shift.
Right,
absolutely.
Right. So when you turn the table, and then suddenly your brand is out in the open, where people can come and really impact your brand.
Right.
So that's where what gets very important is to really turn the marketing from inside out to outside in. I think that's where it gets good.
And that's why we hear about inbound marketing all the time.
Right, absolutely.
Now, let's talk about these 4 or 5 attributes that people look at in terms of trying to identify, are we doing the right thing? One of them was, I believe, share of voice, right?
That's right.
Lead us down this road.
Sure. See, what we do is we help brands to figure out what is really very important in social media. how do you really define ROI, return on investment on social media?
Sure.
So if you are operating in social media, you must have a share of voice, which is how much of your conversation is led by your brand.
All right, so let me interrupt here. So share of voice would be the percentage of the total conversation
That's right.
that is allocated to dialogues about your brand.
Sure. Yeah.
All right? I would think that'd be rather small in most cases, right? 2% share of voice, 10, I mean, there's such a massive pile of data. If you have 2 or 3% share of voice, that's probably pretty good. Or is it share of voice within the category?
Within the category.
I see, okay.
So it's like market share. If you have 80% market share, we assume that you should also have 80% share of voice because that represents your market share. But if you don't have that much, then there is something that must worry about.
Okay, so we just learned something very interesting here. Your assumption is that share of voice within an industry, within the social media milieu, should be roughly equivalent to share of market.
Right. Absolutely.
Wow, that's a fantastic correlation. Okay, what are some of the other ones? I mentioned touch points.
So let's see. If your share of voice is equivalent to market share, that's good news. But if you go deeper into that share of voice, is it positive? Is it negative?
Yeah.
Are people really happy with what your brand is all about?
All right, so there's a qualitative dimension here as well as a quantitative dimension. All right, what about the engagement piece? What about that?
So we see a lot of people pursuing likes on Facebook. So we say, there are 1 million likes.
Thumbs up, thumbs down, like me.
Yeah, but if you ask a brand manager, what does it really mean to you? Then they would typically say, well, I don't know. How many customers did you make out of that 1 million likes?
Yeah, how many thumbs up do I have to get on Facebook before people actually buy another 5 or 10% of my product, right?
Absolutely. So does it really mean customers? Does it really mean revenue?
Yeah.
Is what is important.
Yeah, we're looking for tangible outcomes and actionable intelligence. So we've talked about share of voice, we talked about touch points. Let's name 1 or 2 more quickly and then we'll wrap up.
So the other piece is influencer and advocates. Like we know, social media is about word of mouth. So if you like something, then you will tell 10 other people.
Pass it along, becomes viral. That's right. Okay.
So we have a measure called influencer and advocates.
Okay.
So if you have more influencers, more advocates talking about your brand, that actually helps your brand grow faster and bigger.
Yeah. So some of these guests that we have on today would be influencers, right?
Absolutely.
Extremely influential,
Absolutely.
right? Okay. And then finally, is there anything else? We have the influencers, share of voice, engagement, pass along.
And finally, net sentiment.
Net sentiment.
Net sentiment. So
I've been asking my wife about what net sentiment she has for me recently. I don't know if it's. I can't get to the bottom line there.
Right. Yeah. So after all your interactions, how do you really feel about a relationship is possibly net sentiment.
That's exactly
if
what
you
I've
feel
been asking
positively
my wife
about
lately.
it.
That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
How about it, ladies and gentlemen, from Prashant Parita, here from India, Blue Ocean, social media analytics. You got it. Thank you so much for joining me. Outstanding interview. Thank you for coming, Prashant. All right. We'll be right back.